Back on Get Up, back with breaking news while you were sleeping. The Hornets are seriously engaged in trade talks with multiple teams, aggressively pursuing star point guard LaMelo Ball. According to Shams, trade talks surrounding Ball have picked up steam, and a potential trade could develop in the next 24 to 48 hours. Ball, 3 years left on his contract, eligible, though, to sign a 2-year, $119.2 million extension on Monday, July 6th. While much of his time with the Hornets has been marred by injury, LaMelo Ball is one of 3 players to average at least 20 points per game and 7 assists per game in each of the last 5 seasons. The other 2 names you might have heard of. How about Nikola Jokic and Luka Doncic? Does that do anything? Does that do anything for you? Ball helped lead the Hornets to a 44-38 record last season, their best since 2015-16. Speaking of players on the move, we got some sneaky big news for you. The Detroit Pistons, 1 seed, Eastern Conference, trading backup big man Isaiah Stewart. Beef Stew goes to Memphis for 3 future second-round picks. Stewart has 2 years and $30 million remaining on his contract, with a team option for 2027-28. Wendy, I want to start with you. It does feel like a little bit of a heart and soul move leaving Detroit. I think that marriage of city and player certainly worked with a toughness there for the Pistons. But what else does this move mean for Detroit?
For only draft picks in return.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Why? Because this is a salary cap move to open up cap space because they're chasing somebody. The Lakers were aware that this type of move was coming. It's one of the reasons why they increased their offer to get Reeves done. And now there's other potential targets out there. So they were attached to Tyler Hero. If Tyler Hero didn't end up going to Milwaukee, he could have ended up in Detroit. They were trying potentially to get Austin Reeves. He stays. Who is next up on the list? A player to watch is Kawhi Leonard with the LA Clippers. The Kawhi Leonard situation is so prickly and so unusual. Here's why. He is coming off of a season where he was spectacular. Okay, he had one of the best years of his career, and he's had some good years in his career, Randy.
Sure.
He had one of his best years of his career last season. In a normal set of circumstances, a player of this quality coming off this type of season with 1 year on his contract would be extended very quickly. However, I'm not even sure that the league will allow the Clippers to extend this contract because they're investigating whether this contract is in fact illicit. And so the other thing is, I'm not even sure the league will allow them to trade Kawhi Leonard until there is resolution to this investigation, which 4 weeks ago, Adam Silver said was time to end. So the league is waiting there saying what is going to happen with Kawhi Leonard. But if he is cleared and everything is normal, the Clippers have the choice to extend his contract or trade him. And if they trade him, Detroit wants to be in line.
I heard a big sigh from my right, screen left, from Bobby Marks.
I feel like it's the summer of 2019 again.
How so?
Well, remember, we were all waiting for Kawhi Leonard to sign with the Clippers, the Lakers, was it the Raptors, and now we've kind of come full circle 7 years later for a player who just finished playing at a high level. And as Brian said, walks into the last year of his contract for a Clipper team that has gotten a lot younger when they traded James Harden for Darius Garland. And how does Kawhi Leonard fit into the situation? As Brian mentioned, the Detroit Pistons, why does it make sense? Because we're talking about financial windows. Eventually, it's going to get expensive with their roster. They can do it right now before they have to pay Asar Thompson and Jalen Duren and players like that. Here's the time to do a deal like that if something like that makes sense.
It's a Pistons team, though, that did have to walk that line with Malik Beasley, right? In terms of just being under investigation, not that Kawhi himself is, but the contract is at the center of this investigation with the Clippers. I want to ask Tim what it says, and that because it's just a massive question mark that we're not qualified to jump in on just yet. But Tim, the moves that the Pistons are at least forecasting or tipping their hand at, what does it say about them going all in the Eastern Conference?
Yeah, I mean, the Pistons are preparing to throw a haymaker in the trade market, whether that's Kawhi, whether that's another star. And this is a Pistons team that had the ability to do this at the trade deadline. There was a lot of people around the league looking at the Pistons saying, hey, are they going to push their chips in? They've got all their picks. They got the financial flexibility. Trajan Langdon decided at the trade deadline to stand pat. He wanted to evaluate this young team that ended up winning 60 games, being the top seed in the Eastern Conference, and then not being ready for the playoffs. Struggled to get out of the first round, got bounced in the second round. He evaluated it, and the determination is they need a co-star alongside Cade Cunningham to become a bona fide contender. They're preparing to go get that co-star again, whether that's Kawhi or whether that's another star.
From a basketball perspective, Wendy, Kawhi and Cade equals what?
They need somebody else alongside Cade to take off the scoring pressure and the creation pressure. There's a number of players potentially available who can do that. And I would just say this. The Knicks were so dominant in the Eastern Conference this year that they got teams that were ahead of them in the standings, Detroit and Boston, saying, we got to make moves to match the Knicks.
I mean, it was a Pistons team that held its own in the regular season against the Knicks, with the size, with the toughness, but we saw end-of-game basketball. We saw end-of-game basketball in the playoffs where that creation was just lacking.
You hit it right on the head. I mean, you got to get a closer. You got to get another closer besides Cade Cunningham, and I think you kind of saw that offense stall out there. I thought there was two needs for them, another playmaker to play alongside Cade, and then certainly a veteran to be able to give you that scoring punch in late games.
Speaking of scoring, it's time for get up and goal. Let's go ahead.
The one time they've got a chance to spin, to upgrade that rotation, and LeBron James is part of that, but he's part of that on a temporary basis. He's 41 years old. So they have to get LeBron, if he's going to be back, to take a salary that gives them the opportunity to go out and get other players. They've got to have length. They've got to have athleticism. They will have an outstanding offense with Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves. You better put elite defensive players around those guys if you want a chance to contend for championships. They have to do that this summer.
Randy, there's so much nuance based in the situation. Like, for example, when Kobe was at the end of his career with the Lakers, they gave him a 2-year contract that was for huge dollars, like almost $60 million.
Yeah. And set the franchise
and they probably should do this with LeBron, but because they've got cap space, they can't. Like, I know that this is like why does this make sense? So if you're LeBron, you're saying, so you're saying to me that I might have to take less money because we have cap space? And when Kobe was here, when you didn't have cap space, you were able to give him more? Like, you can understand why he'd come to the table going, hey, make it make sense.
Make it make sense.
I'm going to really go into the weeds with the CBA right now. And for Laker fans out there, if I was in the Lakers' shoes, I would not rely on cap space. I would basically sign LeBron James to a $30 million contract, and I'd bring back Luke Kennard, and I'd bring back Rui Hachimura, and then I'd go out and get a center in free agents and in the trade market. That's going to be the best option for the Lakers. Dave McMenamin wrote he wants an A-list center. You're not finding that in free agency. Walker Kessler and Jalen Duren aren't coming here because they're restricted free agents. Go out and use your 2 first-round picks in 31 and 33, and then target a center to bring back. Mitchell Robinson, who has had good moments in New York, he's not a full-time center. He's a part-time. He's a rotational player.
Getting notes about your NBA champion, Mitchell Robinson?
NBA champion.
Bobby just gave a free consultation that would be very valuable to many NBA teams, is what I'm just saying.
Specifically the Lakers. We have more on Los Angeles. Let's go to the WNBA because Caitlin Clark roughed up, and not in a sort of, maybe it's because the World Cup is upon us, not like a flopping roughed up. She took a punch to the throat last night in the Fever's matchup against the Mercury. Clark falling to the floor on that drive that you just saw. Second quarter, Alyssa Thomas appeared to